again, for those of you who didn't hear me before, my name is Paige Tiplon. I'm the Executive Director of Georgia's Center of Innovation for Logistics, which is an industry-focused component of the Department of Economic Development. Really excited to have this panel together. Both of these panels today are new for us. You know, this is our 5th anniversary of the summit, hard to believe, with over 2,000 people here. This is an incredible crowd. Thank you all for coming on this first day to be part of us, something new for us. And we continue to improve upon it. Hopefully you'll see value of what we're doing today and continue to see tomorrow. We talked about international business in the last session, talked about from 9 different countries from around the world. This session brings us a little closer to home. We call it very affectionately New Kids on the Block, and brings together a variety of different companies intentionally, a wide, diverse group of companies that are doing a lot of interesting new things and creating a lot of investment and jobs and raising the profile of what we do here in Georgia across the board. They join us to share their stories, update us on some of the things they're doing, and to help lead that discussion, we're very pleased to have Mr. Chris Clark, who's the CEO and President of the Georgia Chamber of Commerce, who represents a wide industry of businesses all over the state. And I can think of nobody better to represent and lead this panel today. So please help me welcome Chris Clark.
Thanks, my friend. Have fun. Thank you. Well, good afternoon.
Good afternoon.
Okay, one more time. This has got to be an interactive policy panel kind of thing today. So good afternoon. Thank y'all very much. Make us all feel welcome up here. I want to start off by congratulating Paige on another great event this year. I don't think there's any doubt of anybody's mind that the logistics industry in this state is a true economic driver, an engine for economic growth. And I think these events that we've had over the last several years have really helped us push forward this issue and even put a larger spotlight on the logistics industry in the state of Georgia. Now, at the Georgia Chamber, I want to tell you quickly, about 2 years ago, we created a new organization called the Georgia Transportation Alliance. Our focus of that organization was, for the first time in Georgia's history, was to create a multimodal, statewide logistics and transportation advocacy group. Now, the first thing that we worked on was the regional transportation referendum. We were proud to run the campaigns in the Augusta, Columbus, and Vidalia, Dublin area and pass in those areas. We'll invest just under $2 billion in our infrastructure in those 50 some odd counties over the next 10 years. Those dollars are going to go to roads and bridges, interchanges, they're going to go to economic development, transportation projects, they're going to go to improving airports, rail, short lines, and main lines. That gets part of the job done. But there's much, much more to get done in this area. To really look at what are the other strategies for transportation investment, for logistics management. And to that end, I'm very happy today to make a little quick announcement to you. We're very proud that earlier today we sent out a press release announcing Seth McMillan as our new Executive Director of the Georgia Transportation Alliance. Seth, stand up and wave at everybody. I think everybody knows Seth. Seth has been in this industry for a long time, representing many of the companies here, working on the transportation referendum in the metro area. He knows about transportation, his relationships with our DOT, with our corporate community, with our ports in Savannah, with our railroads, I think is the right mix and combination to really push forward this effort, because at the end of the day, it's the business community in this state that's going to move us forward on transportation investments, move us forward on policy and logistics strategy over the long run. So Seth and I look forward to working with many of you. He'll be starting his 100-day plan on April 1st, and a big part of that is the partnership and how we work with the Center of Innovation with Paige and his team. So we look forward to working with all of you and to continuing the work that we've started a few years ago. Now today on this panel, we've got a lot of folks that care about logistics, care about transportation, and then we want them to share their stories with you. I'm not going to introduce everyone. Their bios are in your program, but I want to kind of tell you who's going to be here in the order that we're going to go in. First up, we're going to hear from our Deputy Commissioner of the Department of Economic Development, Gretchen Corbin, who's going to share with us a little bit about what's happening in economic development in Georgia right now. Next, we're going to ask Dwight Hendrickson from Caterpillar, a great new, a longtime corporate member of Georgia, but with a brand new facility. It's incredible over near Athens. Dwight, we look forward to hear from you. Dave Whelan, who's Senior Vice President for Manufacturing and Quality at Bluebird, is then going to come us and tell us a little bit about Bluebird and what's happening down in Middle Georgia. Mark Newart, Vice President for Logistics and Transportation at Innova Energy, will follow him and give you an update. And then Ty Guak, who's our CEO for Mondo, a new recent investor in the state of Georgia, will come up. And our good friend Jay Neely, who's Deputy General Counsel down at Gulfstream, will come up and wrap it up. We're going to ask each of them to get up and talk for about 10 minutes about their organization, what they're doing, and then we're going to have some questions for the panel, and if we still have time before the reception, we'll take a few questions from the audience. And please know, we are all very well aware that promptly ending after we finish this, there's a reception and cocktail reception upstairs. We know the priority. We don't want to be between you and the bar, so we're going to keep this thing moving along quickly this afternoon. So with that, would you please join me in welcoming first up, Madam Deputy Commissioner Gretchen Corbin.
Chris, thank you very much. Hello, how is everyone today? Good, very good. Well, it's a pleasure to be with you here today. Hopefully the Department of Economic Development is not a new kid on the block to you. Hopefully we're the old friends. We are very proud to be the Department of Economic Development working with the sales and marketing team for the state of Georgia all over the world. And it's our pleasure on a daily basis to work with companies like the companies that are here today. And so we are thrilled to be here with you today, and we are going to talk a little bit about economic development, but we are quickly, very quickly, going to get to the true new kids on the block. As the state of Georgia's sales and marketing arm, it's our responsibility, as you know, to market the state as a great location for business recruitment and retention. International trade, you heard a lot about that earlier today. Our international offices looking for companies to locate in Georgia throughout the world, and also tourism, film, music, and digital entertainment, as well as arts development. I think it's probably appropriate as I begin to say welcome. Not just on behalf of myself, on behalf of Commissioner Chris Comiskey, our Governor Nathan Dill, but more importantly the team in this room, that when I look out, Joseph, Mark, Paige, everyone around the room, on behalf of the economic development, that we would like to say thank you for spending your time with us here at the summit. We're very proud of the Center of Innovations, which Mr. Mark Lytle has done a great job of leading, and especially the Logistics Center and the work that Paige and his team continue to do on a daily basis. Along with the Centers of Innovation, when we look at bringing new kids to the block, we're basically making sure that we look to our old friends like our Gulf Streams with our regional project managers to make sure that they are expanding in Georgia, that we look to new companies around the world, sometimes through business development, trade shows, also through our international offices, make sure that we are calling on companies abroad so that when they say, hey, it's time to go to North America, that they look to the Southeast and then specifically to Georgia. You know, it's really interesting because, as you know, and as you can see through the media, through the press, through our daily lives, when we in economic development, not me, but Chris, 20 years ago, I was only here about 5 years ago, but when Chris was running the streets and really pounding the pavement to bring companies to Georgia 20 years ago, the majority of our projects were manufacturing. And you would probably see about 80% of our projects manufacturing based. It's very interesting. Over the past couple of years, we've seen a huge transition to office, to headquarters, to data centers, to call centers, and I think this is a great strength that we are seeing within the capital city, the capital region of the Southeast United States. We continue to see great manufacturing projects, great manufacturing expansions as well. Location searches. Location searches, I mean, the one that we can look to most recently is Baxter. They're not just southeastern locations searches at this point. They are worldwide. Companies are looking globally now, as we all know, and a lot of this has to do with logistics. And they're basically saying, where can we get to our customer? Where do we need to be? And they're looking globally and then coming down to one area. So it's very interesting how we are competing. It's not just community, state to state. It's truly state to state in another country, country to country. Our searchers, I just flew in from Charleston where we were spending a lot of time talking to site location consultants. Site location consultants are running a majority or at least the same amount of projects as our company executives are today. And then our community involvement. When I look around the room, you know, the most important people in the room today are our companies, our Georgia companies, our companies in the room that are looking to expand in Georgia, to be a part of the logistics infrastructure and growing that. We thank you. But I would challenge you to kind of look around the room and look to your community leaders, because I have seen community leaders from Glenn County. I have seen community leaders from Whitfield County today, and as I look throughout the room, you've got community leaders that are leading the charge, making sure on a daily basis that the logistics infrastructure, that communities, that companies are growing and growing strong. So they are our great partners. People always say, why Georgia? And you can imagine, as Deputy Commissioner of Economic Development, I really get that question every day. And the question is, why not the state to the north? Why not the state to the east? Why not another state in the United States? And there are lots of reasons that we point to, whether it's our university system, whether it's our competitive incentive packages. But truly, we all know we're the center of the Southeast. We are the entrance to the Southeast and to the U.S. market for many. Lots of people can go into a legislative session and make sure that their incentives are the same as Georgia, but no one can just all of a sudden build a Hartsfield-Jackson International Airport. No one can build a port systems like we have on the Georgia coast. And those are the advantages that always rise to the top. And so those are those logistical pieces that cannot be duplicated overnight. And so those are the logistical pieces that I ask that we continue to stay strong and continue to invest in. Of course, our workforce programs with our Quick Start, our Go Build Georgia, we're making sure that the talent in Georgia is always top of the heap. That when we talk to companies, that we can say, come to Georgia, invest here, and we will make sure that you will have the best workers in the entire United States. Georgia's Quick Start program is so good that many states have tried to duplicate and are. And people will say, but the next state over has another training program. And they say they're doing the same thing. And yes, they're trying to, but they don't have the 40 years of experience. And when you talk to Caterpillar and you talk about the training that is just being done now as we speak in the Athens area, you will learn that Quick Start is one of the reasons that many company executives say Georgia was the right decision. Financial incentives. We talk about them all the time, and they really need to be a discussion. And if you ever have a big question, please feel free to ask me, because there are many details, and it's not something that you can read about and get the full picture. But what I will tell you is the most important thing that we have in regards to incentives is a daily, structured basis through our legislature that is always in place for our growing companies in Georgia. Our existing companies make us strong. Our existing companies are the growth of Georgia. And so it's very important to the legislature, to the governor, to our commissioner, and to our team that we always have incentives in place for existing industry. Changes in marketing approach. We don't change, we just evolve, don't we? I mean, that's how we all do. And it's been very interesting. I've been quite blessed to be with the department for almost 13 years now. And to have been with the department and to have been through many administrations, it's such a great thing to see administrations build on the good work of one another. To have seen the work that went in, well, excuse me, I didn't see the work that went into the introduction of our European and our Japanese offices 40 years ago, but to have seen the strength, the funding, the resources that continue to go into those offices, the dedication of governors, of traveling to see Thai, to visit with Mondo in Korea, right? And to visit with companies around the globe, the international, the consistency that we have in our strong markets. It's really great to see, and I will tell you that we evolve our marketing approach. We make sure that we are continuing to be where the business is. Where's the new business going to be? Obviously, on different parts of the globe. And so for that reason, you have seen us open an office in Beijing and also continue into Qingdao in China. We continue, I look to Mark Lytle for the many trips that he has taken to India. We make sure that we are looking around the globe for emerging companies and emerging industries. Georgia Allies. Who's heard of the Georgia Allies? I think it's really important to kind of stop and to take note of something that took place not only through the leadership of Governor Zell Miller, but also through Georgia Power. Georgia Power, during the Olympics, formed a marketing operation called Operation Legacy. And boy, Peggy, has it been a legacy. Georgia Power stood up to the plate and said, these Olympics are going to be lots of fun. But this is also a great business opportunity. Why don't we pull together a marketing opportunity to bring executives, use a wonderful event like the Olympics, and show them and tell them all that Georgia has to offer. Through Operation Legacy, or after Operation Legacy, after the Olympics were concluded, Georgia Power pulled their utility cohorts around the table and said, why don't we continue to do this? And today, you will see multiple utilities, railroads, large businesses that are a part of the Georgia Allies, as well as the state of Georgia, making sure that we are marketing daily. I mentioned that I came back from Charleston just a minute ago. As I left, every utility partner and multiple state of Georgia employees were again making sure that we were hosting specific site location consultants, and we will do it again in conjunction with the Georgia Chamber of Commerce when we host the red carpet tour next month. I think the last thing that I want to say, and then we'll get to the most important people, the true new kids on the block, and that is that we realize at the state of Georgia that every company is different, and every company has a different driver in its decision-making process. We always want to make sure that we are ready to be flexible and that we can adapt to the needs of the moment. When I think about Baxter, for them it was workforce, of course. And so we had to make sure that we had a life science training center, and we are doing that for them. When I think about GM and AirWatch, GM's new innovation center and AirWatch, it's all about Georgia Tech talent. When I think about Gulfstream, we like to make sure that we're taking care of them as well too, or you as well, Jay. I think of Mohawk. Mohawk is a really good example because Mohawk said to us, well, excuse me, not Mohawk, but the flooring industry in general said to us, you know, we grew up in Georgia, but we've put investment into South Carolina, Tennessee, Alabama. And as we come out of this recession and as we grow and we start investing again, we have lots of new technology in different states. You're going to be competing for us. It's not just home now. They very quickly said to us, one of the factors that you need here in Georgia is a sales tax exemption on energy in the manufacturing process. And you need that just to be where our other states are. And so very quickly, as you saw, through Governor Dill's, the legislature, Chris Clark's leadership, along with Commissioner Comiskey and the competitive initiative, you saw from that come an sales tax exemption on energy in the manufacturing process. And so when we look at an industry, whether it's the flooring industry or the logistics industry, when we look at a company that is interested in growing, doing business in Georgia, we want to make sure that we are there for them and looking at their every need. I think we know what is about our future growth. It's many, many things. And as I conclude in regards to the Logistics Summit, what I want to say is when someone says, Gretchen, tell me about the logistics, it's always Hartsfield-Jackson. It's always the interstates. It's always the Class A rail. And it is always the Georgia ports. And so I want to say thank you on behalf of all the economic developers in this room and throughout the state for your support in the growth of our logistics industry, in the growth of our logistics, in the growth of our logistics assets. Thank you.
While Dwight's coming up, I'd like to ask you to look around. We've got about 100 folks standing around the sides. If all of you could, if you've got a chair next to you, if you could just scoot in one, and either group over here. We've got tons of seats, and we've got some seats down front, so all you folks that are standing back there. Now, see, this is how the congregation's supposed to work. We're really coming together here. See, folks are now raising their hand, encouraging you to come down and sit with them. Now, we'll be passing the plates later in the sermon today. Make no mistake about it. Thank y'all. There's a little group here. Y'all might want to, if this little group right here could scoot in, we'd have quite a few seats right here too, kind of midway down. All right. If I could, Dwight, come on up so I can get this started for you. There you go. Yes, sir.
So good afternoon. My name is Dwight Hendrickson. Can you hear me? Okay, good. I have a relatively deep voice. I have quite a bit to say, but Paige limited me to 10 minutes, so I'll try to stay there. First, I'd like to thank the state of Georgia for inviting me. Certainly, this is a distinguished panel, so I'm certainly humbled to be here. Gretchen, one of the things that our vice president said when she came down was that the state of Georgia was the state that said, yes, we will do it. And not only did they say, yes, we can do it, they actually did it. And specifically, they did it when we asked them to. And so that was one of the main differences. We have all the other things that are in there, but the fact that the state of Georgia said, we're going to do this, and then did it, executed, was one of the things that she saw. And she said she saw it. She couldn't tell, who was a Republican or Democrat or whatever party. She said, when the decision was made, everyone said, yes, we will, and they did it. So I'm going to quickly go through this. You can read about me in the pamphlet there. These are some of the things that we considered as we sourced these products in this facility. Now, Caterpillar is not new to Georgia. We have several facilities in Georgia already, a significant footprint in both manufacturing and logistics. But this facility was different. This is a prime product facility, so this goes directly to our customers. And we initially, when we looked at, well, there are two different products here, and I'll talk quickly about them. One of the products could have been sourced, frankly, anywhere in the world. The other one, the market had shifted, so we needed to source it in the U.S. So it kind of worked out. So we looked at all of these, and as supply chain experts, you will probably recognize most of these. Caterpillar has been a global company for well over its existence from the time it started. Over the years, we've continued to grow, and we've become truly international. If you look at where our vice president is located, our group president is located, he's actually located in Asia. So we are truly a global company, and we act as if we are a partner, but more importantly, we act as if we exist everywhere in the world, because we have to. Specifically, as we look at the products that we are sourcing here in Athens, Georgia, there are two products that you can see here on the presentation. One is called the Mini Hex, and it's a tiny excavator. There's one of them that I can't actually fit in. but it works. The other one is a track type, what we call a small track type tractor. It's a D3, 4, 5 range. And these products, the first one could have been sourced anywhere in the world. It's the fastest growing industry in terms of the small construction products. And we chose to source it here because the logistics supply chain met the recipe. We could support it. We could effectively support all of the customers from this spot in the world. And I talk about the ports of Georgia. And I talk about all the infrastructure that supports the ports of Georgia, including the railroads and other infrastructure. The track type tractor is a little bit different. It's primarily a North American machine. And as we look at it, there's an L shape that forms down the east coast and goes across the south, and that's where that product actually is sold. So if you look at a map and you draw, you just put your finger in the center, this is where that product should be sourced. So logistically, it absolutely made sense. Now, again, we could have separated these facilities and put them in different spots, but the fact is, the infrastructure, logistics, the government of the state of Georgia all work together to make this thing happen relatively quickly. And I can tell you, behind the scenes, I think the county of Athens, Clark, and Oconee actually came in, they came in late in the process. Very late. But they came in with their package and they executed it well. So just a bit more. I think I covered most of it already, but the markets, again, shifted for the track types. When operational, this facility will probably house about 1,400 folks in the facility. We've done something unique in the facility. In the past, when Caterpillar builds a facility, we're generally either manufacturing or we're assembling to order. In this facility, we're actually going to do both. And we're doing it that way for a very specific reason. We want to shorten the response time for the product as it goes to the customer. So we're manufacturing, we're building, cutting metal, bending metal, and welding it together. In addition, we're assembling these products to order. So again, very unique, and we built that 1 million square foot facility with both a manufacturing building and an assembly building. In addition, we're going to use it as a base of export for the Mini-Hex primarily, because we have to be able to export them to the world. So there will be a platform that will be designed specifically for export as it goes into primarily Europe, Africa, and the Middle East. In addition, the other thing that I wanted to cover was the state of Georgia in terms of supporting the hiring and education. We actually have quite a few UGA grads. Hopefully I haven't hit a nerve that we've already picked. I actually have an intern that I will be looking at Georgia Tech. And the facility, we just opened the doors on the 11th, meaning we built the building. There's still stuff going on around, but we've built the building and we've started to move the people into the building, and there's probably 50 people, again, on our way to about 1,400. We will have this facility, we'll build the first machines down the line in about 2 months. So we will have production starting at ramping up, and the intent is that before the end of the year, there's machines leaving that facility and going out to customers from the state of Georgia, probably to the state of Georgia. I think Yancey's here in Georgia. In addition, I wanted to cover one more thing. The state of Georgia has been, again, very, very good in terms of supporting all of the infrastructure and educational needs. But the Quick Start program, and I know you covered it, Gretchen.
But you're the best one to.
I was actually amazed when I got here, and they said Quick Start, and a lot of states and counties have Quick Start. I was amazed at the speed at which they constructed the facility, set up the training modules, and I don't know if you've been there, but it is a state-of-the-art. There was no, I'm sure there was $1 spared, but they did it quickly and they did it effectively. And it is going to frankly help us find the talent that we need to get the facility up and running relatively quickly, because that is one of the problems that we struggle with in other places in the country, that talent for manufacturing is not there, and so we have to get these young folks kind of trained up and ready to go in. So that Quick Start program was very, very effective and useful for our company, and will continue to be useful over the next year as we staff up. I actually have 3 minutes. Any questions? Just kidding. Thank you.
Great. Thank you.